Hey guys, Calejandro here, and welcome back to another episode of Calejandria. In this episode, we're going to be continuing our project in the Canluran district. Canluran. If I haven't explained it in the last video, I'm sorry, because last week I was pretty sick and now I'm feeling so much better, as you can hear. Gang. Anyways, Canluran is the eastern city beside the capital. It was originally there when the plan for the city was built. It was just a small town. It was not originally called Canluran. Comment down below what you want this old town to be named. Give me a name that's something a bit more tropical, like Asian style, Spanish influence type of name. So after the city was developed, the main city, Calejandria, Canluran then saw itself as developing itself to better support the residents of it, because the capital was just beside it. So they decided, what if we just build a new city center for us so that people won't stop going to the capital for work. So they invested heavily in redeveloping a piece of land that was just sitting there beside the intersection. The spot of land was initially just rice fields and unused valuable property. So the only problem they had was, how do they finance it? So they partnered with one of the largest private developers of the country, and they sold half of the property to that company, which was Araya. I think it was Calejinvest. Calejinvest was the company, and then they built Araya Estates. I forgot to name it in the last episode, but the estate that we've built in the first episode, that was Araya Estates, a private development. So the private developer backed the project and helped the city government of Canluran to finance the project, and that's what we're doing today. The public side of the project. The last one was a private development. This was public development. Well, actually, the Canluran City Center, the Central Business District, consists of three parts: the Araya Estates, the Canluran Central Business District, and this station. This station is owned by the Calejandrian High-Speed Railway Department, the Calejandrian High-Speed Railway Department, and they thought that this was the perfect place to build a station, because the only station that will serve the city was the main station, the central station, and it had to have a station here because it was a promising place. Like, the location of the city center for Canluran should not be understated. It's like prime location for any developers to build on and to invest in. So getting back on track on what we're doing here today, as I've explained a little bit of the history, a little bit of background to how this came about. I currently built an elevated high-speed railway station over there, as you can see, and I put some commercial buildings below it so that we won't waste space, because this is such valuable land area. Even the parks of such high land value, and they didn't decide to fill in all the available plots of land with buildings, because you always have to keep it green, because the city has to have pockets of green for livability, and so that it's not that barren. It's not too, it gives a breath of life into the city. So you'll see me add little bits of pockets of green, like this one here. This is the infinity part, because the roads are shaped like the infinity sign. And beside it, I was planning on I was deciding on what to put on the sides. On that side, we're going to be placing a mall that is also is from a different company in the country. It's going to be one of the biggest malls in Calejandria, and that's for later. Now we're going to be building some guardrails. I don't know. This is mostly used in Asian countries, just like in Korea, Japan, and the Philippines, I guess, in Makati. And this is just to give it a bit of sophistication. So now we're here to what I was talking about, the Luxerion Mall. It has to. I tried choosing assets that would fit this plot of land, and this building just fit perfectly. It was on point. And it's directly beside the highway, and I'm actually not satisfied with the way that I connected it in the end, which is just a roundabout, I guess. As you can see, I'm going to be redoing that in the next episode. Comment down below what you think I should be building on this part. I think it should be like a timed traffic light, not a roundabout, like just a normal junction with many lanes. Or should I build an elevated part, like an interchange here, because there's already an interchange at this side. I'm also planning on expanding on that side of the park, as I've said in the last video. I'm sorry, this is a disclaimer. I actually lost some footage while detailing to it, so here's just a before and after of what I've done so far. So that took me like an hour, 30 minutes to an hour, just 30 minutes. So now you've seen 30 minutes of footage wasted, but at least you got to enjoy that cool little transition that I made there. I'm gonna try that out more soon for projects that are too repetitive and complex, so people wouldn't want things that people wouldn't want to watch through. So I'm gonna just skip that. And now I'm building another block of land, just some to fill up this area, commercial space, but we wouldn't want to keep it too high. We wouldn't want to put it too high because the noise from the train. Well, actually, the noise from the train is no problem because the buildings here are noise proof. This is just fiction. If anybody there knows how unrealistic this is, I'm sorry, but if you have any suggestions on how I can make this be more realistic, comment down below. The more you know, the more you learn. The more you learn, the more you know. So yeah, I'm adding elevated walkways so that people from the mall could have direct access to the train station, and I'm actually expanding this elevated road network in the central business district so that people wouldn't walk to the area. And now I'm adding another patch of green into the city. It's the Canluran Station Plaza. Still lacks a monument though, but we'll just add it in the next episode. If you have any asset recommendations for a monument for a modern place, I'll highly appreciate it. Now I'm building the actual central business district publicly owned by Canluran. This is the district. I think this is the municipal city hall. One of these buildings is a city hall. This is more of government offices for the city of Canluran, and it's situated between the crossroads of two high-speed rail lines, the one connecting to the east and the one connecting to the northeast. That's the one connecting to the east just goes straight along the coast, while the other one goes deeper into the mountains of Calejandro to the other side, I guess. And now I'm just filling in all the available space here. The diagonal road from the station continues on, and underneath the railway there will be a park, and also another deleted footage, another wasted 30 minutes of work. I built an underground market, as you can see there. Underneath that is an underground public market, which is nice because the space is well managed. I mean, well used. There's no wasted space. And here I decided to add a parking lot, but the parking lot looked too big, so I decided to put commercial buildings. You can do this to your parking lot so that you have like a more complex custom built building. And since the height didn't like quite match right, I added these I think this is from the modular office buildings. This is the greenhouse. This is where plants are, and I'm using that as like an elevated walkway. So it's just user imaginations, because this is how we make things, we imagine things. So I'm using that as an elevated walkway connecting the different buildings in the CBD. I'm also adding some greenery because you need a lot of green, and this entire CBD is actually pretty urban. This is one of the blocks of Canluran, which is mostly buildings, mostly paved, and just Now I'm adding in the pillars for the elevated walkways, because this is above the train station. So if you were to be there in the train station, the vibrations that will be caused by the train would be massive, because they move so fast, especially the one on the side, with the one without the station, because if you're near the station they go a little bit slower. We need this for the integrity of that side, and imagine this like as if those pillars absorb the vibrations. So imagine like a shock absorber. I'm not an engineer, but I think that exists, especially in Japan, because they have stations, they have huge buildings beside stations. So yeah, and now I'm adding in more green because it lacks a lot of green, and we really need to add more, because this is a master planned city for a fictional city in the tropics. So in the tropics, it's a perfect place to grow plants, as compared to like deserts and other places which are not suitable for growing plants. And this is like, it always rains here. Imagine it doesn't actually always rain here. It's like it has a similar weather to Singapore, but it's a little bit cooler, like Taiwan, if you know what I mean. Now I'm adding in more planters because I'm actually gonna fill it up. I'm gonna be filling in the bottom parts with pavement so that everything looks clean, because the vibe that I wanted from this era was sleek, modern, and green. So I'm also adding in some green roofs at the top, so that because they're just completely wasted. And you've seen me build that in the special district there at the city center of Calejandria, the capital, beside the waterfront parks. They passed laws which would require buildings to have green roofs, because just like I think they also have this in New York or Chicago, where they required buildings to have green roofs so that the heat island effect in the cities would be reduced, because white surfaces, concrete surfaces, often absorb most of the light, because especially the darker colored surfaces, so they actually absorb heat during the day and then release them at night, which makes the urban area hotter than it actually is. And also green roofs and the greenery that I'm placing around everywhere They actually help flood management and control, because instead of the water rushing through the drainage system of the city, it will be trapped in the grass. It will be absorbed by the grass and the greeneries around the city. And also, since climate change is a real deal, even in this game, the city is pushing forward for a lot of greenery everywhere. So they're also pushing for large sums of lands to be allocated for green spaces. So with that in mind, they had to have like a specific amount of what do you call this, land area to be covered in greenery, and to maximize the land area to be developed with buildings for floor space and green space. They decided to put these these hanging vines, hanging trees, hanging bushes on the pillars, so they would have more green in the part of the city. They have more green space for the requirements, and they also added a park here and filled them with trees, lots and lots of palm trees, coconut trees. Welcome to the end of the video, guys. It's been quite a nice video, hasn't it? If it has, then make sure to leave a like, and if it hasn't, why would you think that this is a bad episode? This is really one of my greatest episodes for me, development wise, because I had literally genuine fun making it, and I have another episode after this, following this episode, another project which I'm excited to show you guys. So leave a like, comment down below what you want to see next, and subscribe. Subscribe if you want to. I don't care. Actually, I do care. Please subscribe, and hit the bell notification so that you can stay up to date with the latest, because I often upload some things out of time and without schedule. So this has been Calejandria. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.